Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Good howdy everyone, Poppy the Masked Keaton here. I am the perpetual podcasting sidekick. No podcast of my own, but I do help with the Secret Levels podcast produce the Retro Olympics. A retro, mostly, themed video game trivia show that comes out twice a year. I also volunteer with Furry Weekend Atlanta, a costuming and gaming convention set in, well, Atlanta, Georgia. And if you're not busy Mother's Day weekend in May, come check us out. You could spend an entire day in our video game room and not even play everything that we offer. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about Beyond Shadowgate. No. Not the Turbo 6 Graphics 16 version, the new one that released in 2024. Dear listener, if you're tuning in, I'm assuming that you are interested in this game. Therefore, I will strive to keep spoilers to a minimum, except for what happens in the first few minutes of the new adventure, and anything that was mentioned as a Kickstarter unlock goal. In order to understand why it's such a great feeling to play Beyond Shadowgate, I need to talk a little bit about the original. And I do need to pad this out a little bit, I tend to talk fast. Shadowgate is a first-person, point-and-click adventure game released for the Macintosh and published by ICOM Simulations in 1987. It is one of 4 games released in the MacVenture series, the other ones being Deja Vu and The Uninvited. It was released in 1989 by Kimco for the Nintendo Entertainment System, with some quality-of-life upgrades including easier to cast spells, color, as opposed to the Macintosh black and white, and an incredibly memorable soundtrack. The game was so popular on the NES that 2 other games in the MacVenture series, Deja Vu and Uninvited, were later released on the NES as well. In 1999, Shadowgate Classic was released on the Game Boy Color, and Shadowgate Classic was ported to mobile gaming in 2005 with new puzzles and areas. In 2014, the game was remade with updated graphics, music, puzzles, and varying difficulties. However, these are remakes and not new games, which is particularly frustrating because the game ends with the lines, "Although this quest is over, others await. After all, the bards will need new legends to sing of, and new tales to tell. This is the first story's end." And young me was incredibly excited by that. What other stories would be told? Would we learn about the Ocean of Blood, or the Elven Funhouse at King Otto's Fair? What about the sirens of Yekrim Eret? The broom in the game, when you examine it, says that it looks like one that they own. Why do sirens even need brooms? The game painted a large tapestry of a map, and we only got to see one castle's worth of this fleshed-out fantasy world. Now, I just had to wait for the sequel, which will surely be out in a year or 2. But it wasn't. I mean, yeah, we got Uninvited and Deja Vu, but that second Shadowgate game never came to the NES. I mean, we did get some sequels, kind of. The TurboGrafx 16 bought the rights to the planned sequel, titled Beyond Shadowgate, but instead of the first-person point-and-click adventure, they did a third-person one similar to Monkey Island. It didn't feel like a continuation of the saga. It felt like marketing told someone to make Monkey Island the fantasy game, and so someone did. I'm sure it's a great game, but it didn't capture that feeling of Shadowgate. And I mean, okay, full disclosure, I didn't have a TurboGrafx and I didn't play this one. But I've seen the YouTube videos, and yeah, it really does feel like Guybrush Threepwood in a fantasy setting. Which is great for fans of Monkey Island, not so much for Shadowgate. But I digress. Nintendo 64 received Shadowgate 64, Trial of the Four Towers, which was closer to the mark, but instead of the concise picture of a room with everything you can interact with clearly visible, it was a 3D first-person puzzle game, and 3D made searching the rooms unwieldy and very easy to miss crucial objects. I was excited for this one, but once again, it didn't feel right for several reasons that I have forgotten the specifics of over the past few decades. But I did at least get to play this one. A VR Shadowgate game called Mines of Mythrock was released a few years back, but again, while first-person, it's not that same, here's a picture of the room you're in, and everything that you need is visible, and you just gotta figure out how to interact with it, style reminiscent of the original MacVenture series. And I hear that the VR game is good, but I don't have an Oculus Quest, and the local VR place doesn't have it in their system, so once again, I can't even try it. But then last year, after a successful 2023 Kickstarter, Dave Marsh, the creator of Shadowgate, got to bring his original vision to fruition along with a dedicated team of Shadowgate fans working on the project, and they released the proper version of Beyond Shadowgate based on the original design notes and built around the understanding that the target audience doesn't have the free time that they did back in the late 1980s. It is a fantastic new story 35 years later in the world of Kaltor Lin, and we are back. You start out as a Fenling rogue. A Fenling's kind of like a halfling. A Fenling rogue named Dell, who has been unfortunately, and if you ask him, wrongfully imprisoned. But soon you figure out a way to make your daring escape, or die a horrible death. Like the original game, this game features over-the-top, graphically entertaining descriptions of your character's demise. As soon as you exit the door, however, you are greeted by a wisp, a magical ball of light that will give you hints and encouragement along the way. And after that, you're introduced to a new mechanic, timed puzzles. The dungeon guard is marching your way, and you have a limited time to figure out what to do to avoid his gaze and his axe. And these are few and far between, but they do ramp up the suspense when they happen. And if that idea doesn't appeal to you, they can be turned off in the options menu. Anyway, as you explore the dungeon, you find that the king has been locked away down here. Your first mission will be to find a way to free him, and this leads to the discovery of a terrible plot to unleash evil on the land, a plot that only you can stop. Foiling this fiendish plan will take you into a city, the local castle, the nearby woods, and some other fascinating locations as you traverse the monster-filled landscape to eventually return to Castle Shadowgate. And while you don't need to have played the original game to enjoy the sequel, when you cross that familiar door, to the Castle Shadowgate, it is an amazing feeling. Everyone who worked on this game wanted to make this area feel special, and it does. I saw an interview with the artist who designed the rooms, and he talked about how fun but nerve-wracking it was to update these iconic locations as they looked 35 years later. I talked earlier about how this game was designed with the player's time in mind, and that's definitely worth mentioning. While the point-and-click adventures of the past had a bloated number of items to pick up to make puzzles more difficult, this one only has a few red herrings. Almost everything that you pick up will be used, usually in a nearby room. And when you're done with it, Dell discards it. He's a rogue, not a soldier. He needs to travel light, and it is a very welcome quality of life improvement. Also, the wisp that you meet at the beginning of the game can be pretty helpful with hints for when you get stuck. The other games in the original MacVenture series get some love in this game as well. Dell's adventures will take him to strange lands. Two of the stranger ones are the brief interludes into the games The Uninvited and Deja Vu. These mini-adventures were unlocked stretch goals from the Kickstarter, and while some players find them a little jarring, and they're right. As someone who loved Uninvited, it was fantastic to see that haunted mansion again, and to learn a little bit more about the events of what happened there. And my local rental store never got Deja Vu, so I never played it. Still, it was kind of cool to see Chicago through the eyes of a fantasy character. Oh, the 4 endings! The game has 4 endings. There's a bad one, a couple of okay ones, and a good one. I won't tell you the triggers, but if you get the bad ending, you probably know what to do to get the better one next playthrough, and the game does have incentive for a second playthrough. Also, it's a puzzle game, so a second playthrough goes a lot quicker. And yes, I did get the worst ending first. What can I say? It seemed like a good idea at the time. Anyway, I'm not a wordsmith. I'm just a trivia writer. So it's hard to really express how it felt to play this game after waiting for so many years, and seeing so many games try but fall short of delivering that classic Shadowgate experience. Reunited and it feels so good, maybe the best I can do. Again, I'm holding myself back from talking about spoiler experiences, but the designers were aware of what players talked about on forums and Discord servers, and made videos about when it came to Shadowgate and its mysteries, and it made sure that this game delivers on those discussions. It is a true labor of love and passion from the team, and if you're a fan of the original, I do highly recommend picking it up. It's currently available on Steam and GOG, and maybe itch.io? I'm not sure. And if you're the sort of person who thinks Shadowgate feels best on a Nintendo product, and it feels weird to play it anywhere else, I agree. There are rumors of a Switch port, and if they come to fruition, every Discord server I am in will know about it. But that's it for me. Thank you for listening to me gush about this game. I hope you have a retrotastic day, and happy gaming.
Hey, Nerf herders.
You sure you want to go with that?
Hey, everyone?
There we go. More inviting.
Have you ever had a movie that you really wanted to love, but something holds you back?
Or one that you did love in spite of a flaw?
Well, I'm Case Aiken.
And I'm Sam Alisea.
And on Another Pass, we sit down with cool guests to look at movies that we find fascinating.
But flawed.
And we try to imagine what could have been done when they were made to give them that little push.
We're not experts. We just believe in criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Sure.
So come take another pass at some movies with us.
And every now and then, we can celebrate movies that did it on their own, too.
You can find us at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Pass it on.
CPOV.
certainpov.com.